right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Didikanku. Today we have a very special guest. He's a master certified coach and founder of Coaching Indonesia. He was also my trainer into my journey as a coach. So I'm really proud to welcome Coach Al Falaq.
Thank you, David, and I'm really happy to be with you this evening and looking forward to having conversation with you.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Coach, and a little bit about Coaching Indonesia.
My journey as a coach began in 2007. Was 13, 14 years ago. And actually, I came to that coincidentally because I grew up as an engineer. Basically, after I graduated from university, I worked in an oil and gas company, and then I moved to Australia. I worked there for a number of years, and my background was mainly in engineering and technology. And I took some time in 2007 when I found crossroad in my life, like not knowing what to do next. And then a friend actually asked me to buy a book. I was at the time in the US doing some retreat, and a friend of mine from Indonesia sent me an email to order a book from Amazon. And then the book arrived in my hotel, and I opened it up and I read it completely, one page until finish, one page another until finish, and I found it very interesting. It's about coaching, and then I took that book, I completely digested. I ordered it myself for me, yeah. And then when I came back to Indonesia, it was actually just 1 month retreat in the US, and when I came back to Indonesia, I took the certification. It was in 2007, yeah. And since then, I decided my career in people and human capital development, basically. I set up a clinic, coaching clinic, in 2008 in Dharma Wangsa Square. And then the rest is history, yeah, until now.
Interesting. That's quite a journey. So you never actually planned to be a coach from the beginning. It kind of happened.
Yeah, and when I track back why I do what I do, actually it wasn't really coincidence. Since I was a kid, I had a very great interest in physics, math, and psychology. So I read all books around physics, chemistry, and math. Basically, I love math. I can't do math right now because I'm not used to it, but I used to love math. And when I really explore physics and math, including chemistry, there's a question of who we are here, like why we are born, and what are we supposed to do, and what will be next for us after the classical question, after we die, what will happen?
Right.
And then at the time, there was a big interest from me to know psychology. Who we are psychologically, what kind of dimensions that we carry on, personalities, characters, why we believe on something very fanatically, for example, why we have this fundamental mindset that we cannot, that we hold on throughout our lives, and we cannot just break through it very easily. And that question actually led me later on my life to find spirituality, and that's actually the reason why I signed up for a course, and I took some time, 1 month just to do the retreat, and everything comes into place at the same time. And yeah, we don't know what will happen next after this.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting journey, but so it started out kind of with the metaphysics, math, physics,
Mm.
chemistry, what we're made of, which
Mm.
led you to some, I guess, philosophical question
Yeah,
about this is the material we're made of, but what are we made of inside spiritually? And that led you on to your journey as a coach. Is that correct?
yeah. There's always a curiosity to know more, and I think that is the basis of coaching. We don't
Mm,
coach because we know the solution and we know what will be best for our client. We coach them because we are curious what's
mm,
going on, and what is the underlying reality behind issues, challenges, and wants. So basically curiosity, and that drives me to know what is more about physics, what is more about technology, math,
mm,
psychology, spirituality. So what is more, what we don't know right now that we may know at some stage.
right,
Uh,
right. And it all stems from that curiosity of wanting to know more, and I guess being humble enough to know that you don't know everything and there's more to learn.
exactly, and that is the interest actually, at least from my point of view. My interest is to understand something that I don't know before, and how can I facilitate conversation with the client
Mm,
that they also don't know what to do. So we come to a conversation from not knowing what will be best for us, and from that place actually we are curious to know, fitting up puzzles and integrating informations from multiple sources, interpreting, observing. So it's kind of, in a way, it's a physics, like, trying to
right,
understand the facts.
right.
And also, when it comes to coaching, uh, there we have the opportunity to exercise our intuition. So it's
Mm,
not only about logical thinking. Uh, knowing is one side of, one aspect of coaching. Knowing what is happening is actually good, but what about we sense
mm,
if there is something more, and that is the intuition. And
right.
yeah, we can talk about it later on.
Right, right, right. So that's kind of the coaching aspect of it. Um, was it curiosity and intuition that kind of motivated you to start coaching Indonesia, which I know has different areas to it as well, which is centered around helping people, as you mentioned earlier. So was that part of the?
Yeah, the prime motive of establishing Coaching Indonesia was pretty simple in the beginning,
Mhm,
that we like to help people. And I think everyone has that same motive deep inside, that we want to help people in one way or another. And that was pretty much the prime motive when we got together at the time, 2011, me and a couple of other partners.
mhm,
What if our journey of helping people is being formalized
mm,
in terms of legality? And at the time, we didn't know what to do next, except we just exercise our knowledge and experience, our expertise of coaching to our clients,
mm,
and it grows until now we have three entities legally. One is primarily focused on providing coaching services. The second one is providing education for people who want to be a coach.
Mm,
And this is the school basically that provide certification based on International Coaching Federation standard.
right.
And the other one is coaching technology, how we scale up coaching into a public domain that we can offer our solution. Or when we say solution, it's actually the intention of helping people,
Right.
yeah, in a way that everyone can access coaches.
Right.
So the idea was born because back in 2016 we have a movement called Impact Movement, because we believe that everyone needs a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, we started developing a coaching application. And right now, everyone can access coaches through platform very easily with affordable prices, and they can select from hundreds of coaches one person that they like to engage with. So it becomes very easy right now with the technology.
Mm, yes, and I've seen that app, Vise Coach, and it's very, I would say, very intuitive, quite easy to use. Um, but it's interesting that that journey of forming Coaching Indonesia and then forming, I guess first you mentioned like coaching services, which is I believe you providing your services or other coaching or other coaches helping clients directly. And then there's the education side or academy, which I think I went through to get certified, um, which was also a very interesting journey. And then there's the technology side, which is how can we get this out to more people, to impact more people. And that's very interesting. But your journey there, because now you're a master certified coach. So before you started coaching Indonesia, did you feel you needed to become a master certified coach, or did that kind of happen along the way?
Uh, of course, when you when you love something, you want to really explore it inside out.
Yeah.
And ICF, International Coaching Federation, provides the journey for someone like me who wants to know more educationally, professionally. So being a coach is not about being a credentialed like
Mm,
master coach or anything for that matter, but it provides a platform for you to advance professionally by qualifying certain degrees, by passing grades, by being validated by someone who has been in the industry for so long. So for me, actually for me, because I love coaching. So when I decided to build my career around coaching at the time, I stated to myself that one day I will become a master coach.
mm,
So I really stated that objective to me. But that is not my main reason why I become a coach. And when I talked to one of master coaches that have been around for so long, he said something very interesting, that become a master coach is not about simply having a title, but it's a recognition from professional body that you have undergone a specific journey to become someone. Yeah, like it happens to be a master coach, but it could be something else.
right, right. So it's not so much of a credential, it's more the experience and what happens along the way to getting that. I guess that title that brings also respect from colleagues within the industry, and not just a credential of master coach.
Yeah, I believe so. The experience is what matters. The experience of learning, of um, making mistakes, I suppose, really, and reflecting from that mistakes to learn more. If there is no such a qualification, then we may just walk around and claim that, hey, I have collected thousands of hours of coaching, but no one has validated that qualification. So it's only self-proclaimed. With master certified coach, you really have to undergo a specific journey, and it's about experiential learning. And that is what matters to me.
Right, right. It's a lot about the experience. So, would you say that anyone then can be a coach? Anyone can be a master coach, as long as they're willing to go on this journey and be open to this experience?
That is very interesting question. I think academically, anyone can become a master coach academically.
Right.
And it's not too difficult. You know, when I arrived at this, if you have dedication, commitment to keep pursuing what you want, one day you become it. So anyone can become a master coach. It takes 8 to 10 years, you know, to learn and reflect on your practice. But then again, there is a bigger question than that. Can anyone be someone who is valuable to other people through coaching? And that doesn't require you to become a master coach. I think that is more important than simply recognized as master coach. How can you provide values in any interactions with your clients? And it happens to me that value very much I collect through my journey in becoming a master coach, but there's many other ways to achieve that.
And that's very interesting. I think the point you make there, that what we're doing should be selfless, I think, is what you're trying to say here. So we're getting that recognition, or let's say that title of master certified coach is not just a credential for ourselves, but there's a selfless aspect to it because we wanted to help others, which helps us to be a better coach.
Exactly. And after you receive master coach recognition, it doesn't stop there. You have to be supervised, because, you know, title is only title, but without someone supervising how you do it, how you maintain the practice, then sooner or later you become like blindfolded. Like you think you are doing it right, but actually when someone is looking at you from different point of view, which we call a coach supervisor, in this context, then you will become more aware of many things that you may have overlooked. So for me, I have coach supervisor from time to time, just to look at whether or not my practice is still maintaining the integrity of coaching. And also sometimes when I find challenges with specific clients, I bring the case to my supervisor and we talk about it together.
So this kind of falls under your everyone needs a coach. Even you have your own coach, which you call your coach supervisor, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that even though you're at a point where well, you did a training with me, so you're like a coach's trainer, but even under that context, you yourself still have a coach, someone that helps you, give you outside perspective, I guess.
Yes, yes, exactly. And that also leads us be to be vulnerable. Yeah. To be
Mm,
vulnerable means we are opening up to any possibilities, even
right.
if we are wrong. Yeah, and also opens up to the uncertainty, because we
Mm,
don't know. We don't know whether this client receive insight because we are manipulating their mind. You know, sometimes we want our client to be like us.
right.
So in such a way, our questions are leading them to
Mm,
arrive in certain solution. And if we are not aware of it, then we don't maintain the integrity of coaching.
right.
We force people, manipulating people without we know it even. So the presence of a coach supervisor is really important to help us reflect upon our practices, not for the sake of right or wrong, but um, to really, like validating whether we still provide values to our clients, and also whether this coaching session is coming out of our passion and caring, not from our judgment and assumption. So it's very interesting that sometimes practicing at the master level, you have to let go of many things,
Mm,
and still you want to be validated by someone who is called coach supervisor.
right. Right. And that's a very interesting point you make there, is that sometimes even though we're doing what we think is best for the client, sometimes as people, even though you are a coach or someone has a lot of experience, sometimes you can end up leading people to where you want them to go, and you forget the fundamentals of them finding their own path. I think that's a very interesting point you bring up there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so what would you say, or what tips would you give for someone who's very interested and starting out this coaching journey? They've taken some certification, they're quite passionate about it. What tips would you have for these aspirational coaches?
Be curious to know more, and it applies not only for coaching but also for many disciplines as well. um, and in specific, when it comes to coaching, curiosity is the key.
Hmm.
So we want to let go of assumptions, judgments, and bring out our curiosity, and that requires certain type of skills,
Hmm.
such as active listening in multitude of dimensions, asking powerful questions, deep questions, interpreting what's going on, systemic thinking. So it's a puzzle that we are interested to fit in together, not for the sake of us telling the client,
Right.
but for the benefit of all. So we can see, for example, in leadership or business or life, that things are interrelated. What happened 10 years ago is still happening inside this person today.
Hmm.
So from the place of curiosity, everything makes sense for us, for the coach and for the client. So for anyone who has aspiration to become a coach, please stay in your curiosity in any moment, like asking questions when you fail, asking question, what would I've done that brings me into this failure, and if there is no such failure, what does it mean to me? What do I learn from it? How can I be better tomorrow? So it is curiosity, and if you maintain that along the journey of becoming a coach, then you are a master coach in your own way, without even the accreditation or credential from the ICF, because that is the requirement.
Interesting. That's very interesting indeed. So there is curiosity, but well, I kind of hear there's also a need to have passion and intuition and be able to put things together. But then again, it comes back to the ability to do that is through curiosity. Without curiosity, you won't have the ability to put things together, to look at things that you wouldn't have looked at, or to listen to advice that maybe you wouldn't have thought of if you're not curious. So very interesting indeed. So I know I don't want to take up all your time, Coach Al, because I have a million other questions I want to ask, but I'm just going to come up with one more question. It's kind of a deep question, but I like to ask all my guests this question. Say your time has come to an end and you're moving on to a better place, you're leaving this world, but you can only leave two pearls of wisdom as your legacy to the world. What would your two pearls of wisdom be?
It's a very hard question, yeah. For me, one thing that keeps me moving, keeps me going, and creating is one thing. The wisdom is that, what if we have everything that is required to become our best? And how can we know that in every moment we act from our best, if we have already been given all the things that are required to be our best? So this is my question every morning, actually, David. Like, like I take a morning walk for 13-40 minutes every morning, and the wisdom is that the biggest regret when we die is that we realize we have had everything that is required to be our best, but we don't use it. The biggest regret is when we realize that we have been given so many chances to act from our best, but we just, didn't pay attention to it. Then suddenly time has come to an end, and that is the biggest mistake, the biggest regret. So pay attention to every moment. How can we be better? What are the things that we may have missed out? And if tomorrow gives us another opportunity to act from our best, what are we going to do? How do we relate to people that we know? And how we engage with the work that we do, writing a proposal, or interviewing people, or just doing mundane tasks. How we are going to do it differently, because we don't want to be regretful when the time has come to an end, when we realize that we have been given everything that is required to act from our best.
Mm.
So we don't want to miss that.
Absolutely, that's very powerful, and uh, definitely something that I think a lot of people think about um, at the end of the day is what did I do what I could have done? Uh, no one
Mm.
wants to be left with that thought. Did I do enough, right? Did I
Yeah,
do enough with what I
yeah.
had? No one wants to be left with that question. That's very powerful, I think. And your second pearl of
Mm.
wisdom?
Oh yeah, my second pearl of wisdom is that hmm, what if we are wrong about our fear? What if what we fear of is actually the invitation to really go into it? What if things are different than what we would have thought of before? So uh, be vulnerable and yet be courageous to overcome any fear or challenges, because we don't know if there is actually an invitation
Mm,
to connect with who we are, really, the authenticity of who we are, who is always evolving, who is always learning, and finding something more that could be mysterious, but it's well, you don't know, we don't know, like maybe the unexpected thing that we never thought of before.
right. That again is very very deep and very thoughtful, in a way that we need to always be humble enough to know that um even though there's a right answer, it might not be the right answer. if you
Mm.
if
What we know to what we know today, yeah, yeah, just like mobile phone,
exactly.
we thought like 10 years ago we had the greatest technology, but then today it's different, and 10 years from now it will be different again.
Right.
Mm.
So things are always changing, and we need to keep
Yeah,
an open mind for that.
yeah.
That's very interesting indeed. Um, I mean, like I said, Coach Al, I could ask you 100 follow-up questions from what you just said, and I would really like to, but again, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're busy. So thank you again for coming on and being a guest. I'm sure the listeners learned a lot. And just before we end here, if any of the listeners like want to get in touch with you, want to know more about your coaching services or the coaching academy or the technology side, which is Vise Coach, what's
Mm.
the best way to get in touch with you?
We have a website, coachingindonesia.com. It's being revamped, but you can find many information around coaching, our services, programs, certifications in coachingindonesia.com, or you can download Vice Coach in App Store and Google Play Store. Just sign up and find a coach to receive one free coaching session from them. Yeah,
Wow.
it's free. Yeah.
Wow. So just download the app and you can get a free session to get familiar with coaching. That's very, very
Yeah,
interesting. And
yeah.
I'll leave that description in the link below. So thanks again, Coach Al. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. I
Thank you.
do hope to have you on as a guest again sometime soon, to ask you my next 1,000 questions. So it's all about
Yeah, yeah, really happy.
curiosity. I have a deep curiosity.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Really happy to have such a conversation with you. And I do hope listeners take 1 or 2 points, or if you don't take anything, I'm really happy. Yeah, still to be in this podcast with David.
Thank you again. Well, I'm sure the listeners will take away a lot from this podcast, as I have. So thanks again, Coach Al.
Thank you.